and welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to be sharing with you a requested video from my group on how to cut this flare play suit, and this dress is from Gemma Wears. So if you haven't yet subscribed, please hit on the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up. So let's dive right into today's video. So I've gone ahead to mark out all my basic measurements, which includes my shoulder to bust, shoulder to under bust, and shoulder to waistline. After you're done marking this, you want to go ahead to mark your shoulder divided by 2. My shoulder is 14 inches, divided by 2 I have 7, and I will go down by 1 inch at this point. So from here, I'll place my ruler and I'll draw out my shoulder slope. Go ahead to mark my neckline of 3.5 inches, and I'll also mark 3.5 inches here. You can also go ahead and use anything that is okay for you for the neckline. After this, I'll find my chest line, and to find your chest line is your bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches. I made a mark on that point, which is 7 inches, and I will draw out a straight line. I'll go ahead and I will mark my shoulder divided by 2 on that line, and I'll go ahead to draw out a straight line. Now I'll go ahead also to divide what I have here into 2 by folding my tape. After I'm done marking that, I'll be coming out by 1/2 inch, and at that chest line I'll go ahead to mark my bust circumference divided by 4. Now I'm going to mark the 1/2 inch at the armhole, and I'll connect all the way to the shoulder part. So after I'm done marking this, I'll go ahead to mark my nipple to nipple divided by 2. My nipple to nipple is 7 inches, divided by 2 I have 3.5 inches, and I'm going to mark this all the way to the lower part of my pattern, and I'll place my straight rule to draw out a straight line. So here I'm going to go ahead to divide my shoulder into 2. After dividing the rest of my shoulder into 2, I'll place my ruler and I'll go ahead to connect from this point all the way to the upper part of my shoulder. So the next thing you want to go ahead to do is now go ahead to mark your dart intake. So for this pattern, I'll be using 1/2 inch on the middle side, and by the side I'll use 1.5 inches. So if you're plus size, you want to use 1 inch on this side, and then go ahead to use 2 inches on this side. This is because of the pattern of the dart we have on this dress. So now I'll connect from my bust down to my under bust. Go ahead to repeat this at the other side of my pattern also, and I will connect. Next, I'll go ahead to use my marker to outline this to make this very visible for you to see. From that my shoulder point, I will mark a 1 inch dart, and I will connect from the bust line to that point. So after I'm done marking this, you want to go ahead and use your marker to outline this. So I'm doing this so that my pattern will be visible for you to see. So after that, you're going to blend in your pattern. Starting from where your shoulder ends, you're going to add additional 1 inch to the shoulder part. That is the dart intake that you took out on the shoulder of your pattern, and I'll shed it out to indicate that I have a dart on the shoulder. So now you want to go ahead to insert your body measurement. Mark your bust circumference divided by 4, pick a point on your dart, place it on the bust, and add your sewing allowance. Mark your under bust circumference divided by 4, measure the dart intake and replace, add your sewing allowance. Mark your waist circumference divided by 4, measure the dart intake, replace, and add your sewing allowance. Now you want to go ahead and connect this all the way from the upper part to the lower part of your pattern, and I'll use my marker to outline this. So after that, I'm done drafting or cutting out the front pattern. So I'll go ahead to cut this out. If you find this video very interesting and educative, please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. So I'm going to go ahead to cut out the back pattern after I'm done cutting the front. So to cut the back pattern, I've gone ahead to mark out all my basic measurements just like we did for the front. The only difference I have is that I have a zipper at the back. So I didn't use a bust dart. This is just a basic pattern. So the next thing you're going to do is to mark your dart. Mark your nipple to nipple divided by 2, which I came down by 1 inch from this point because of the dart. And this your nipple to nipple mark divided by 2 should start after the zipper line. So I went down by 1/2 inch on both sides of the waistline of the back. So next, I'll go ahead to connect, draw out a straight line, and I'll mark out my dart. After I'm done marking out this dart, the next step you want to take is to insert your body measurement. Mark your bust circumference divided by 4. Go ahead to add your sewing allowance. Mark your waist circumference divided by 4. Measure your dart intake and replace, and also add your sewing allowance. Now I'll just go ahead and connect my pattern, and I'm going to use my marker to outline this. After I'm done marking this, I'm going to get rid of the bulginess at the back of the dress by marking 1/2 inch at the zipper point of my dress, and I'm going to extend this all the way up. After I'm done extending this way, I'm going to go ahead to use my marker to outline this. So the next step we're going to also work on is the shoulder part. You notice the back is open. Go ahead to mark the neckline of your dress. So now we are going to connect this to the bust part of this dress, and after I'm done marking the neckline, I'll just go ahead slant my ruler a bit because I want to have like a slanted design there, and I'll draw this out. So this is not so visible. I'll just go in with my marker and I will draw it out so that you're going to see what I have on that point. So now I'll come down by 1/2 inch at the zipper. This is to avoid the back part at the zipper area to pop up. So I'll just go in and I'll cut out this pattern. So this is what we have for the back part of the dress. So after I'm done cutting this out, I'm just going to go ahead to cut the armhole area of this dress and the rest of the pattern, and we'll move over to the lower part of the dress, which is the flare trouser. So to cut your flare trouser, you're going to go ahead to fold your pattern in form of a flare. So after this, you're going to go ahead to mark out your front crotch extension, and to get that is your hip circumference divided by 4. Whatever you get, you divide it by 4 again. For example, my hip is 40 divided by 4, I have 10. That 10 inches, dividing it by 4 again, I have 2.5 inches. So that is what I'm marking in front of this pattern. So after that, I'll just go ahead to use my ruler and connect to meet all those points. After I'm done marking that, the next step I want to take is to go ahead to outline it with my marker. Now on the other part of my pattern, I'll be marking 1/2 inch, and I'll mark this all the way down to the other side. So this 1/2 inch will be serving as a joining allowance for the sides of your trouser, and after cutting this, you want to go ahead to rule out a line connecting it together. After this, you want to go ahead and insert your measurement. So now the next step we are going to take is to divide our waist by 4. So my waist is 28 divided by 4. I have 7 inches. So go ahead to place your tape and find where 7 inches meet at both sides. But because we are going to have like a pleat in front of this trouser, I'll be adding 3 extra inches to this pattern. So instead of using that 7 inches, I will use 10 inches at this point because of that little pleat in front of the dress. So I'll just go in with my marker and outline this. So after I'm done marking this, go ahead to find your crotch depth, and to do that is your hip circumference divided by 4. So mine is 10, and I'll go ahead to add 2.5 inches to this because the trouser we are working on is a free and flare trouser. From there, I went ahead to draw out a curve connecting it back to the trouser pattern. So next, we are going to take the full length of the trouser, and you're going to place your tape this way, and whatever measurement you're taking, you're going to place it and take it round this way because this pattern is folded in a flare form, so you can't just mark out a straight line. So I'm using 21 inches or 21.5 inches for both the sewing and folding allowance. So after this, I'll just go ahead and draw out a line. So this is what I have, and our pattern is almost ready. So here I'll come down by 1 inch, and I'll go ahead to blend it to the upper part of my pattern so that the lower part of the front trouser will relax very well. So I'll just go ahead and cut this out. After cutting it out, I'll be using this front pattern to explain the back pattern of the trouser. So now this is my front pattern, and what I'm going to do now for the back pattern, at the crotch, I'm going to add 1 inch extra at this point, and at the upper part also, you're going to go up at the front pattern. This is because of the butt allowance. So from the front pattern, I will go up by 2 inches, and I'm going to go ahead to connect what I have back to the upper pattern, slanting it down to the hip of the pattern this way. That is, at the part that has the crotch, you're going to go up by 2 inches or 2.5 because of the butt allowance on the dress, and then you're going to connect from this side, merging it up. So after connecting, you're going to cut this out. And also at the crotch extension, you're going to add about 1 inch or half in front because of the zipper allowance. So this is how your back pattern for the flare trouser or jumpsuit is supposed to be. So with this, we have come to the end of today's video. If you have any question, please also leave it at the comment section. Thanks.